Hello and welcome everyone. I just wanted to do a quick video tutorial on the enhanced upgrades on our optimizer. The Person Algo Optimizer version number 16 just came out with some really exciting and amazing upgrades. Before we get into that though, if you could just take a quick second to read the risk disclosure statement. And I think it's important that we all understand that trading does involve a risk of loss and that future past performance is not indicative of future results. The use of stops, and this is kind of an important risk disclosure because it has a lot to do with one of the enhancements that we've done for the Person Algo Optimizer, just because of market conditions, namely gaps. If you have a risk stop or stop limit order, they don't necessarily limit your loss or get you into trade. Stops cannot just be used for losses, but they can also be used for order entry, right? So with that said, we have brand new order entry logic that we improved upon that allowed us not to miss out on trades due to orders, for example, on a gap lower open situation. If the market gives a beautiful sell signal, instead of missing the trade because it was maybe a sell limit order on and if you're looking to sell the market and from one day to the next, that one logic would have maybe on a stop limit order selling below the prior low, a stop limit. If the market opens up lower than that stop limit, guess what? It's not going to execute or get you into a trade. So entering on stops was one of the functions that was enhanced. But this is, I think, one of the key elements of the enhanced improvement was this scale out. And again, it's the exit strategy. There are several ways to get out of a trade once you're in it, right? Market orders just get me out, but if it's near your intended profit target, you can always get out. Trailing stop functions are important. Maximum holding period. How long do you stay in the trade? 10 bars, 20 bars, 2 weeks, a month? If it's a 5-minute day trade, is it 8 bars, which again is only 40 minutes? These are great questions that we look for as traders and system designers to find out what's the best holding period. So that's another added element that we don't want to override. We want several things to help protect the profits that we've accrued in a trade, right? So more or less what we've created, this scale out function has 3 features. It has 0, it has 1, and then it has a scale out. So if you're in 2 contracts of futures, you can get out at 50% or 0.5. So we have a scale out of half your position. We have an override, don't get out at all, just get into a trade. And if your profit target, which we identify and color code on our system strategies here as blue would be the profit target. So if you have an entry and your red is your risk, you know what your profit target is on that particular trade, you can disable and say, you know what if we get into a really strong trending mode and I got out with a small profit? Well, guess what? You can function and backtest and find out what's the better profitability. Getting out of half the position at a profit and trailing the balance, getting out of the entire position at the profit, or getting out of the entire position with a trailing stop feature only. And again, a trailing stop feature only. In other words, ignore what the average profit target is and only take exit strategies if your max holding period or your protection on your percent of profits is given back. That's another feature that we wrote code into this system. And then third and finally, trail the stop based on market conditions. So that was one of the enhancement logics that we built into our trailing stop performance feature. Let's take a look at what we were doing here this week with crude oil, which was a phenomenal, fantastic market. I covered this a lot in the weekly, these daily videos this past week. Many of you have probably seen these on the YouTube channel. But keep in mind, one of the things that we were looking for in crude oil that we identified was, number one, this week with crude oil, we came into the week with a very strong bullish convergence pattern. In other words, there's a low and here's a low. And if you take a look at those low prices on a closing basis, not the actual traded low, but the closing basis, you will notice that even on balance volume made a higher high reading, but clearly it's better identified by this volume indicator, which is a proprietary indicator that we've created that's available on our lifetime package with TradeStation. So as you can see, that the volume, the momentum histogram component, the momentum of the volume itself was moving higher. You get a one-day downdraft, and on that one-day downdraft, notice that the momentum did not turn red. Basically, that's because it wasn't that strong of a down day in volume, and so that says that when you come into the next week, there's some buying going on. So what we wanted to focus on, while there was a sell signal, PPS sell signal, we were starting to notice that there was strong buying and a convergence of volume coming in, and that the market was more prone for rallying than for further declines. I mean, after all, crude oil did just come from about 73 down to around 63 and change on the Sunday night trade session. That was a Sunday night trade session we saw at around 63.40. Pretty crazy. So that is a pretty significant downdraft that we saw. So now do you start selling, or do you look for maybe some buying opportunity? According to the volume analysis, we were looking for buying opportunity. And that's why on the YouTube channel, you saw these algorithm buy signals and what we were doing with crude oil. Now, crude oil, as we got into not just Friday's action, but Wednesday, by Monday, we noted that there was some strong buying going on between the 1 o'clock and 2 o'clock, both Monday, Tuesday, and then what do you think we were analyzing for Wednesday, which was a very volatile trading session. It was a very good session. Why volatile? Because it went up, it went down, it went up, it went down, it went back up. Now, at 12 noon, we were in already a long position, and yes, we did get stopped out. And in the trading room, and this is the trade here, I'd like to review this with you quickly, because this had been traded live with our new enhancements. So basically, if you could see the first long position early in the morning, it got out at a profit target. Let's review the trades, and you can see what I'm referring to. So with the new enhancements, blue is your profit target. It gets into a long position. You can see it says high close doji. It gets out at half the position. If it's long 2, it gets out of 1, half the position at the profit, and it trails the stop on the balance. Now, why did it get out here? Because on average, the maximum bars were hit. Next, as we move forward and we go through time, you could see here, it gets back into a new fresh trade. There's increase in volume, the momentum is positive, and it gets long. What does it do? It gets into the trade. It gets out of half at the intended profit. And what did it do? Well, when the momentum shift changed, it got out. And you can see that little red bar right there. It trailed the stop, and it finally got out of the trade. Now, would it have done better getting out of both contracts at the profit? Possibly. Did it go short? No, because we were only looking for long trades only. Now, here's the killer. We came out with the conclusion that we see normally between 1 and 2 o'clock a lot of strong buying opportunities in the market in the last few days. Funds are coming in. What happened? Right after this big downdraft, which was maybe comments by an OPEC member, we had a buy signal, and what had happened? Market generated another exit at the profit and then trailed the stop. So yeah, it gave back some open trade profits, but it did its job by doing what most people have a hard time doing. A, getting out and knowing where to get out. By having a profit target and getting out, it has that discipline built in for you that you take the profit. Now, this is not a long-term investment. This is a day trade. Next, with day trading, we don't know if it's going to be the biggest run of our life or if, the market's just going to expire with a quick pop. So therefore, it's important to get out of maybe half your position and trail the balance, and that's exactly what it did. Now, here's what happened again, with Thursday. Nice trade. Another example of where it did its job entirely. It got out, it hit the profit target, and it just so happened to trail a stop, and it did a little bit better here, right? Next, it gets back into a trade. It gets out of half the profit. It turns out it gets out at the whole profit target, which is pretty ironic. Now, finally, let's go into Friday's trade action. Friday, wow, what a day. It did a phenomenal job as we identified to get long in the market. It had two trade setups here. One, it got out. Two, yes, it trailed the stop. It still provided a nice profit. It got back into the game here Friday morning. It took a quick profit and it trailed the stop on the balance all day long. So here's the neat thing. This system does not take any more trades past 230. I will share that with you real quick. So if we go to format, you'll first and foremost see that it is the 16 version. We go to format and you'll see right there, end time 2:35. We don't take trades in the night session. We only take trades between 6:45 and 2:35, and there it is. Position calculated method was set on 3, which is only 2 lots. There it is. So that's part of the strategy that we've designed with the person Algo Optimizer. And check out these numbers here, at least on the trade list or periodic returns for the week. Pretty crazy amounts on 2 lots only, right? So when you look at not every day being a winner, that's great. But going back, this is only since the beginning of June, right? So we look at constantly maintaining a system, which means every month you kind of take a look at the ATRs, you look at the condition of the market, and therefore you're able to have this auto execute trades that you would normally want to take yourself. Now, here's the best part. Look at the performance graph of this. I mean, just phenomenal trades for the month. Let's take a look at the periodic returns and take a look at the week. So for the week, not a bad trading week. Since the last few weeks, this is a phenomenal month. When I say a phenomenal, this is a fantastic monthly performance. And again, another example where the Algo Optimizer is really useful for all traders, beginners, advanced traders. And when we put this together with our live trading room, you guys, this is just a phenomenal way of trading the market. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this update on what the new enhancements have done, and I just wanted to follow up with the results as we were talking about this both not only in the live trading room but also updating these on the YouTube channel. Thanks again, and we'll see you next week.